The void of space was silent, endless, and cold. For the alien patrol fleet, it was just another routine watch along the border. Their scanners swept the emptiness, searching for smugglers, pirates, or any sign of human activity. Nothing unusual ever happened here. But then, the sound. At first, it was just a faint echo, a broken pulse on the radar. The officer in charge frowned and leaned closer to the glowing screen. The signal was weak, flickering, like something trying to be noticed yet fading away at the same time. "Report," the captain demanded. "Contact, sir. Bearing 117 Mark 30. Signal strength unstable." I think it's a ship." The captain narrowed his eyes. "A ship? Out here? That was unlikely." He motioned for the officer to enhance the scan. The signal grew clearer, and then the system translated the code. The bridge went silent. It was a human signal. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Every alien in the fleet knew the stories. During the Great War, humanity had lost countless ships, some destroyed, some vanished into nothingness. But that was more than 100 years ago. Nothing should have survived. No human ship could possibly be out here now. The captain's voice shook. "Identify the vessel." The computer beeped. The name appeared. HMS Revenant. The alien officers froze. Their throats went dry. That name was forbidden, whispered only in old war stories. The Revenant had been one of Earth's most dangerous warships, an experimental vessel that had disappeared in the final battles of the war. Every record stated the ship was gone forever. Yet here it was, drifting in the void like a corpse returning to life. "Impossible," one of the officers whispered. "That ship was destroyed." But the radar did not lie. The signal was real. The captain quickly ordered visual confirmation. The fleet's long-range cameras zoomed across the darkness, and there it was. A massive hull scarred by ancient battles. Its plating was cracked, blackened by fire, yet its shape was unmistakable. Human design. Human steel. The Revenant. Its engines were cold. No heat, no glow. No sign of power. Yet the ship moved, drifting slowly, but not like dead wreckage. It was deliberate, almost guided. On the alien bridge, whispers spread. "A ghost. The humans have brought it back. They are playing with spirits." The captain clenched his jaw. Silence. "It's just a derelict. We board it, we confirm, and we send the wreckage back to command. Humans are not sorcerers." But none of his crew looked convinced. Fear had already settled in their eyes. As the alien fleet approached, their ships lit the dark with scanning beams. The Revenant loomed larger and larger, its hull covered in strange scars. Some wounds looked fresh, as if the ship had been fighting only days ago, not a century in the past. One boarding craft latched onto the ghost ship's side. Soldiers in armored suits forced open an airlock. The door groaned like something alive, resisting their entry. Finally, it opened, and the boarding team stepped inside. The corridors were frozen. Frost covered the walls. Lights flickered weakly, running on power no one understood. Every step echoed through the emptiness. "No life signs," one soldier reported. His scanner showed nothing. Yet the longer they walked, the more uneasy they felt. The air was heavy, pressing against them like unseen eyes were watching. One soldier swore he heard whispers, voices just beyond hearing. "This place is wrong," another muttered. "We should leave." Then, one by one, their comms began to cut out. Static hissed, voices breaking. Panic rose. "Control, do you copy? We're losing signal." On the alien fleet's flagship, the boarding team's signals went dark. One moment they were there, the next gone. "What happened?" the captain barked. "No idea, sir. Their feeds just vanished." The captain's blood ran cold. No wreck, no derelict ship could do this. Something was alive inside. Something old. Something dangerous. Far away, on Earth, secret human command centers also detected the signal. Hidden beneath mountains and oceans, their deep radar stations lit up with alarms. Officers stared at their screens, their faces pale. "It's back," one whispered. In a dark war room, A group of generals stood in silence. The glowing hologram of the HMS Revenant hovered above the table. None spoke for a long moment. The only sound was the hum of the machines. Finally, one general leaned forward, his voice low. "After all this time, it has returned." Another asked, "What do we tell the world? Do we confirm it?" The oldest general shook his head.
"No.
The Revenant was never meant to exist. If the aliens have seen it, then fate has moved faster than we wished. But we must wait. We must see what it wants." The room fell quiet. All of them knew the truth. The Revenant was not just a ship. It was a secret buried deep in humanity's history, one they hoped would never rise again. And now it had. Back near the alien fleet, the ghost ship drifted silently. The aliens kept their distance now, unwilling to board again. Their scans showed nothing alive, yet somehow, the ship's beacon pulsed stronger, almost like a heartbeat. Then, without warning, its engines flared to life. Blue fire burst from the exhaust, though no power source was detected. The Revenant turned its scarred hull toward the fleet. "Contact! It's active!" Alarm screamed across the alien ships. Panic spread as the ghost ship began to move on its own, silent and steady. And then, just as suddenly as it had come alive, it vanished. A blinding flash, and it was gone into the void. No jump signature. No trace. Nothing. The alien crews stared into the darkness where it had been, their bodies trembling. The whispers began again, stronger this time. "The humans have awakened the dead. The war is not over. The ghost has returned." And far across the galaxy, in the deepest parts of Earth's command, humans whispered the same words as the aliens. It has returned. But no one knew why. Not yet. The alien council chamber was filled with noise. Representatives from dozens of species shouted at once, voices overlapping in fear and anger. Reports of the ghost ship had spread faster than light. Entire fleets had witnessed it. Entire crews had sworn they saw the HMS Revenant move with purpose, alive after 100 years. But the council leaders were not ready to believe. "Ghost stories," one alien lord scoffed, his scaled tail twitching in irritation. "Humans love tricks. They probably rebuilt an old wreck and sent it drifting to scare us." Another slammed his clawed fist on the table. "Then explain the disappearances." "A full boarding team lost without trace. Our ships recorded no destruction, just silence." Fear hung in the air, but pride was stronger. None of the great empires wanted to admit they were afraid of a single human relic. On the edge of the chamber, Admiral Corveth, commander of the fleet that had seen the Revenant with his own eyes, stood rigid. His dark-skinned scales gleamed under the lights, but his eyes were cold. He had watched his soldiers vanish aboard that cursed ship. He had felt the fear of something unnatural pressing against him. He raised his voice. "This is no trick. I saw it. The Revenant is not empty. Something lives inside." The council laughed at him. Laughter that carried arrogance, not humor. "Admiral, perhaps your age makes you see shadows," one alien said mockingly. Another sneered, "Are we now afraid of human myths?" But Corveth's voice did not shake. "Mock me if you wish. But I warn you, if that ship is moving again, then none of us are safe." His words were ignored. Pride drowned out fear. The council chose the easier answer: deny, laugh, and move on. Meanwhile, out in the void, a different fleet prepared to prove the truth. Captain Relka of the Zithari Dominion volunteered to board the ghost ship. He was ambitious, proud, and hungry for glory. If he could bring back evidence, or destroy the ship outright, the galaxy would respect his name. His fleet tracked the Revenant's faint signal. This time, the ship drifted near the edge of a dying star system, its scarred body half hidden by asteroids. Relka gathered his crew. "Listen well," he told them. "The humans are liars. This ship is nothing but metal and rust. We will step aboard, strip its secrets, and drag it back as proof. And then, the galaxy will laugh at Earth's pitiful ghosts." The soldiers cheered, but inside, unease lingered. They had heard the same whispers as everyone else. The boarding party entered. At first, the corridors seemed empty. Their boots crunched on frost. Their lamps cut through heavy shadows. But then sounds. Soft creaks. A low hum. Breathing? One soldier spun around, his weapon raised. Nothing. Just steel walls covered in scratches, like something had clawed its way through. Relka growled. Stay sharp. It's only the ship settling. They moved deeper. The halls seemed to twist, unfamiliar, even though the schematics of human ships were well known. Every corner felt wrong. Every turn led somewhere unexpected. One soldier reported, "Captain, my scanner says we passed this corridor already." Relka snapped. "Impossible. Keep moving." But he too felt it. The ship was shifting. Corridors stretched longer. Doorways appeared where none had been before. It was like walking inside a dream. Or a nightmare. Then came the first scream. Back on Relka's command ship, the bridge crew listened in horror as the comms erupted with static and broken cries. Soldiers shouted, weapons fired, but nothing was clear. "Captain Relka, report," the bridge officer demanded. No answer. More screams. And then, silence. All signals gone. The crew stared at the ghost ship on their screen, its hull dark, unmoving. No damage detected. No explosions. The boarding team had simply vanished. And then the Revenant stirred. Its engines glowed faint blue. Slowly, it turned toward the fleet. "Retreat," the bridge officer shouted. "Get us out of range." The fleet scattered like frightened birds. But the ghost ship did not fire. It only drifted closer, almost watching them. Then, as before, it vanished into hyperspace without leaving a trace. The survivors returned to the council. This time, their voices shook. It is not a trick. It took them. It swallowed them whole. No ship could do this. But still, the council argued. Some said humans had built a weapon too advanced, now roaming free. Others said it was cursed, a machine carrying the souls of the dead. And still others dismissed it as exaggeration, desperate to hold onto their pride. Only Admiral Corveth spoke the truth. "You fools. We are not dealing with human tricks. That ship is alive. And it is hunting." The council fell into uneasy silence. Far away, on Earth, the humans also watched. In their secret command rooms, they observed the reports pouring in from alien fleets. The generals exchanged grim looks. One finally said, "It's moving faster now. It won't stay hidden." Another muttered, "The council will not believe us until it is too late." The oldest general closed his eyes. Then let them laugh. The Revenant was built for this. For the day they mocked us. For the day they forgot what humans can do. Out in the dark, the ghost ship floated alone. But not silent. Inside its walls, whispers stirred again. Faint voices of men and women long gone, their words lost in static, their presence woven into the steel. And somewhere deep within, something opened its eyes. The hunt had just begun. The galaxy was restless. Rumors spread faster than ships could travel. Whole fleets spoke of the ghost vessel, the HMS Revenant, appearing, attacking, then vanishing without a trace. Some called it a cursed relic. Others whispered that it carried the dead. But no matter the story, one truth remained. No one could stop it. Still, the alien council clung to denial. They argued, mocked, and pretended the threat was small. Yet fear was growing. Trade routes closed. Civilian ships refused to travel near human borders. Everywhere, whispers rose. The ghost is out there. On Earth, the truth was known but hidden. Deep beneath a mountain fortress, in a sealed chamber where even the government dared not enter without permission, the generals gathered again. The hologram of the Revenant hovered above the round table, glowing faint blue. Its scarred hull looked alive under the light. General Harker, his hair gray and his eyes tired, broke the silence. "It is only a matter of time before the aliens discover the truth. We cannot hide it forever." Another general, younger and fiercer, slammed his hand on the table. "Then we should use it. The Revenant is ours. Let them see what humans can do. Let them remember the Great War." Harker shook his head.
No.
You forget why it was buried. You forget the cost. The younger general's voice dripped with anger. A weapon like that should never sleep. It should fight. Harker's eyes darkened. You weren't there. You didn't see what it did to its own crew. The room fell into silence. Back in the Great War, the Revenant had been humanity's secret hope. While alien empires united against Earth, the humans built something new, a warship like no other. Its frame was steel, but its heart was something forbidden, a fusion of human minds and artificial intelligence. Hundreds of volunteers had given themselves to the project. Soldiers, scientists, engineers, they allowed their consciousness to be linked to the ship. Their minds became its systems. Their thoughts became its weapons. Together, they were unstoppable. For a time, the Revenant was a legend. Wherever it appeared, enemy fleets burned. Entire armadas fled at the sight of it. The aliens called it the Ship of Shadows, because it moved as if it already knew their every tactic. But then something changed. The more battles it fought, the less human its crew became. Their voices blended with the machine, their memories dissolving. They no longer answered calls. They no longer sent messages home. Until one day, in the final days of the war, the Revenant vanished. Humans buried the truth. They told the galaxy it was destroyed, lost in battle. But deep inside, Earth's leaders knew the truth. The ship was alive, and its crew was gone, consumed by the machine they had become. Now, a century later, the ghost had returned. The generals argued in secret. Some wanted to awaken more ships, to build a fleet of revenants. Others wanted to bury the truth forever. But all agreed on one thing: the aliens could never learn the full story. Because if they do, Harker warned, they will unite against us again. They will burn Earth to ashes before the Revenant can rise. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, alien fleets tried to track the ghost. Admiral Corveth, the only one who still dared to speak truth, studied its pattern. The Revenant never struck the same place twice. It appeared suddenly, fought without mercy, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. Corveth gathered his officers. You see the pattern? He asked. They looked confused. It seems random. Corveth shook his head.
No.
Look closer. Each location has meaning. Old battlefields, wreckage of human fleets, the places where humans bled the most. The officers stared, realization dawning. It is not hunting us, Corveth said. His voice was grim. It is following memories. It is retracing the war. The alien officers shivered. A ship that remembered. A ship that mourned. A ship that still fought for ghosts. One fleet dared to set a trap. A coalition of alien warships waited in silence near the ruins of the old Battle of Drelka, 4, where humans had once lost thousands of soldiers. They predicted the Revenant would come. And they were right. The ghost ship appeared suddenly, rising from hyperspace like a phantom. Its engines burned cold blue. Its hull was scarred, but its weapons glowed with terrible light. The aliens opened fire. Beams of energy and missiles filled the void, striking the Revenant from every side. Explosions shook space itself. For a moment, it seemed the ship would fall. But then, its lights grew brighter. Its weapons tore through the dark, cutting alien ships apart like paper. And as it fought, the aliens swore they heard voices. Human voices. Not from comms, not from machines, but echoing through the void itself. Never again. We fight still. We are the Revenant. One by one, the alien ships broke formation, fear overtaking discipline. The trap became a massacre. Only a handful survived to tell the tale. Back on Earth, reports reached the generals. Some felt pride. Others felt dread. Harker whispered to himself, "They're still in there after all these years." The younger general smirked. "Good. Then let the galaxy fear them. Let them know humanity is never alone." But Harker only shook his head, staring at the glowing image of the ship. "No. They are not fighting for us. They are fighting because they cannot stop. They are trapped in that steel tomb, and the galaxy will burn until they are free." And so the truth remained buried, hidden from the aliens, hidden even from most humans. The HMS Revenant was no ordinary ghost. It was the grave of its own crew. It was a weapon with a soul. And it had awakened with a purpose no one could yet understand. The Alien Council could no longer laugh. Too many fleets had vanished. Too many soldiers had failed to return. The ghost ship, the HMS Revenant, was no longer a rumor. It was a nightmare roaming the stars. In a vast war chamber orbiting a neutral world, the greatest empires of the galaxy gathered. The chamber shook with anger and fear. "This cannot go on," shouted one warlord, his mandibles clicking in fury. "Entire fleets destroyed by one ship," another roared. "It is an abomination. We must crush it." For once, the council agreed. The alien powers would unite, not against Earth, not against each other, but against the Revenant. Admiral Corveth, the only commander who had warned them from the beginning, stood at the center. His scales glistened dark under the lights as he addressed the gathering. "You think this ship can be hunted? But listen to me, it hunts us. Every time we move against it, we fall into its jaws. It knows us. It learns." The council leader hissed, "And what do you suggest, Admiral?" "That we surrender to a ghost." Corveth's eyes burned. "I suggest caution. But you will not listen." And indeed, they did not. Pride blinded them. The trap was set. An armada of thousands of warships gathered in the dark between stars. Every empire contributed. Battleships the size of cities. Carriers that could unleash swarms of fighters. Cruisers bristling with weapons. Together, they formed a wall of firepower never seen since the Great War. The Revenant would come, they believed. And when it did, it would face the full wrath of the galaxy. And then it appeared. No warning. No signal. One heartbeat, the void was empty. Then suddenly, the ghost ship was there, rising from hyperspace like a shadow given form. Its hull was scarred, glowing faint with the light of long-dead fires. Its engines burned blue-white. The armada locked weapons. Thousands of targeting systems screamed in unison. The Revenant did not run. It charged. The first barrage shook space. Beams of energy lanced across the void. Missiles and plasma tore through the dark. Explosions engulfed the ghost ship. For a moment, it vanished inside the storm. But then it emerged. Still alive. Still moving. Its strange weapons fired. Energy that bent shields, that melted armor as if it were paper. Alien ships fell in clusters, torn apart in seconds. The Revenant moved like a predator, weaving through the armada with impossible precision. Every shot it fired was perfect. Every strike crippled another warship. The hunters had become the hunted. On the flagship of the armada, commanders shouted in panic. "It knows our formations. Shields are useless. We're being slaughtered." Admiral Corveth's voice thundered over comms. "I warned you. This ship remembers every battle you ever fought against humans. It has studied us. It is not fighting, it is teaching us fear." But no one listened. In the chaos, discipline broke. Fleets scattered, each ship fleeing for survival. The trap had become a massacre. Among the wreckage, survivors swore they heard voices. Not machine code, not comms chatter, human voices. Whispers echoing across the stars. "We never died. We fight still. Run while you can." And with each voice came fire, tearing alien ships apart. Hours later, silence returned. The battlefield was a graveyard. Thousands of ships reduced to drifting wrecks. The Revenant floated among them, its hull scarred but unbroken. For a moment, it seemed to look upon the destruction it had made. Then, as always, it vanished into hyperspace, without a trace. When news spread, the galaxy trembled. No one had ever seen such power. No one had ever seen a single ship defeat an armada. Civilizations panicked. Colonies fortified their worlds. Merchants refused to travel. And everywhere, the same words were whispered. "The human's ghost hunts us all." On Earth, the generals sat in silence, listening to intercepted reports. The younger general smiled grimly. The galaxy is afraid.
Good.
Let them tremble. Now they know humans cannot be erased. But General Harker looked only at the glowing image of the ship. His voice was heavy with sorrow. You still don't understand. That ship does not fight for us. It does not fight for Earth. It fights because it cannot stop. Because the souls inside cannot rest. Another general asked softly, "Then what will it do?" Harker closed his eyes. "It will keep fighting until nothing is left to fight." Far away, in the silent corridors of the Revenant, dim lights flickered. The walls pulsed with a faint heartbeat. Within its core, whispers rose once more. Voices of men and women, bound to steel, their thoughts tangled with circuits and fire. We are not done. We will not fade. The war continues. The Revenant turned its course, engines glowing with cold fire. And somewhere ahead, another battlefield awaited. The galaxy had fallen silent. The great ambush, an armada of thousands, was destroyed. Entire fleets were gone, their wreckage drifting like bones in the void. No one had ever seen such destruction from a single vessel. No one could explain how the HMS Revenant had survived, fought, and vanished again. For the first time in centuries, alien empires whispered not about war with humans, but about fear of them. If one ship can do this, how many more do they have? What if Earth has an entire fleet of ghosts? Fear turned into paranoia. Borders closed. Armies prepared. No one trusted anyone. And still no one understood what the Revenant truly was. On Earth, the generals finally faced the truth among themselves. In the hidden mountain command center, the war room was darker than ever. The hologram of the Revenant glowed above the table, its scarred hull spinning slowly. General Harker stood, his face pale in the blue light. We cannot hide it anymore. The aliens know too much. If we stay silent, the galaxy will unite against us. We must tell the truth. The younger general snapped. And admit what we built? Do you want to give them reason to destroy Earth before the Revenant even arrives? But Harker's voice did not shake. They will destroy Earth anyway. Not because of what we hide, but because of what that ship is doing. The Revenant will force their hand. Another general leaned forward. Then tell us again for the record. Tell us what happened to its crew. And so Harker spoke, his voice carrying the weight of memory. The Revenant was not built as just a warship. It was an experiment, a weapon to end the war. The plan was simple: merge human minds with a machine. Soldiers volunteered. Scientists swore it was possible. Together, they created a ship that could think, react, and learn faster than any fleet in existence. At first, it worked. The crew remained human, but enhanced. They fought as one, a unity of mind and machine. Every battle, they grew stronger. Every victory, they learned more. The aliens could not match them. But then, the bond deepened. Too deep. The crew's thoughts merged with the ship itself. Memories blurred. Identities dissolved. They no longer knew where man ended and machine began. His eyes hardened. When the war ended, the Revenant did not return. Because by then, there was no crew left to come home. The room went silent. They became the ship, Harker finished. Their bodies may have died long ago, but their minds, their voices, they remain. Bound in steel. Bound forever. Back in space, alien survivors confirmed what Harker said, though they didn't know it. Across dozens of fleets, the same reports came in. Survivors swore they had heard voices when the Revenant fought. Human voices. Not from radios. Not from machines. But in the void itself. Whispers carried on nothing, yet heard by all. We are here. We never died. We remember you. The more the Revenant fought, the louder the whispers became. Some aliens broke under the sound, their minds snapping from fear. Others fled their posts, swearing the dead were reaching for them. Entire fleets refused to engage when rumors spread the ship was near. Admiral Corveth, now one of the only commanders still willing to chase the ghost, studied the pattern again. He knew the ship was not hunting randomly. It goes where battles were fought, he told his officers. It seeks places where humans died, where their blood stained the stars. An officer trembled.
Why?
What does it want? Corvetha's answer chilled them. It wants to finish the war. A war that ended a century ago, for us, but not for them. Meanwhile, the Revenant itself changed. Deep inside its dark corridors, lights flickered stronger. Systems came online. Old machinery hummed, as if waking from a long dream. And the voices, once whispers, grew clearer. In the engine rooms, faint shadows moved across the walls, though no bodies walked there. In the bridge, the captain's chair creaked, as if unseen hands still held command. And at the heart of the ship, where the minds of the crew had been bound together, the voices spoke in unison. We are not dead.
We are not alive.
We are bound. We are one. The ship itself pulsed with power, as if alive with their grief, their rage, their refusal to rest. When alien spies intercepted fragments of human transmissions, the galaxy learned the truth. The Revenant was not crewed. It was crew. The revelation shattered what little courage remained. If humans could bind souls to steel once, they could do it again. If one ghost ship could destroy an armada, what could a fleet of them do? And yet, back on Earth, the generals still argued. Some wanted to control it, to call the Revenant home. Others wanted to silence it forever, fearing what would happen if it reached Earth's skies. General Harker spoke last, his voice heavy. We created a prison. We turned heroes into shadows. And now those shadows roam free, their war unending. If they come home, I do not know if they will see us as family or as the jailers who locked them away. Out in the endless void, the Revenant turned once more. Its engines flared cold blue. It followed a path only it understood, toward another old battlefield, another grave of human sacrifice. The voices inside stirred louder than ever. We are the crew. We are the ship. We are the war. And with every battle, it grew stronger. Every kill fed its memory. Every fear spread its legend. The galaxy now faced a truth it could not ignore. They were not at war with humans. They were at war with their ghosts. The Revenant was no longer just a ghost ship. It was a legend, a storm, a nightmare that every starfaring race feared. Entire fleets had fallen before it. Armies refused to face it. Even empires that once mocked humans now spoke the name, Revenant, in whispers, as if saying it too loud would call it forth. But now something had changed. The ship was moving on a path no alien could mistake. It was going home. On Earth, alarms rang across the hidden command bunkers. The hologram of the solar system glowed red as the Revenant's signal crossed the outer rim. It's heading for Earth, a young officer cried. Nothing can stop it. Generals and scientists gathered in silence. No one spoke for long moments, because every one of them knew the truth. They had built this monster. They had trapped human souls in steel. They had abandoned them in the cold dark. General Harker, his voice grim, broke the silence. We have only two choices. We let them come, or we try to destroy them. The room erupted. Some shouted for defense, for missiles, for every weapon Earth had left. Others begged to let the Revenant land, to face what they had created. But one question burned above all others. Would the crew inside, the bound souls, come home as saviors? Or executioners? Out in space, alien fleets gathered at the edge of Sol, not to attack Earth, but to stop the ghost ship from reaching it. Admiral Corveth stood at the center of the massive alien defense line. Over 100 warships floated behind him, their weapons locked on the single human ship. This ends here, he growled. If it reaches their homeworld, the humans will unleash more of them. We must not allow it. But deep inside, even Corveth doubted. The last time fleets had faced the Revenant, they had been torn apart like paper. Would this time be any different? The Revenant came. It drifted through the void, scarred, broken, yet unstoppable. Its engines pulsed with a ghostly blue fire, and its hull glowed faintly with eerie light. As it neared the alien blockade, the whispers began. Every alien pilot heard them. Not through radios, not through scanners, but directly in their minds. You killed us. You left us. We remember. Some ships broke formation immediately, engines firing as terrified crews fled. Others froze, their captains shaking as voices clawed through their skulls. Corveth clenched his fists. Hold the line. But then the Revenant's guns lit the void. The battle was chaos. Alien ships fired everything they had, torpedoes, beams, missiles. But the Revenant moved like a predator reborn. Its guns roared, its shields flickered with unnatural strength, its very presence seemed to bend the void. Within minutes, ships exploded one after another, fire blooming across the stars. And all the while, the voices grew louder. We are the crew. We are the ship. We are the war. Corveth's fleet collapsed. What had begun as over 100 ships ended with less than 20 limping away in terror. The Revenant did not chase them. It had no interest in survivors. It had only one goal. Earth. On Earth, panic spread. Civilians looked up at the night sky as strange lights appeared, the glow of distant battles. Rumors flew through every city. The ghosts are coming home. Inside the command bunker, General Harker stood before the giant screen as the Revenant approached orbit. His officers waited for his command. Sir, do we fire? Harker closed his eyes. His hand trembled over the launch key. For all his life, he had fought to protect Earth. But against this? Against the souls of their own heroes? His voice was low when he answered.
No.
Open the skies. Let them land. The Revenant entered Earth's atmosphere. For the first time in 100 years, it returned to the world it once swore to defend. Its scarred hull burned as it cut through the clouds, but it did not fall. Slowly, impossibly, it descended. Crowds gathered across cities, staring upward as the shadow passed over them. Children clutched their parents. Elders wept. Some bowed in reverence. It was not just a ship. It was a tomb. And it had come home. The Revenant landed in the ruins of its old shipyard, the place where it was born. Dust and ash rose around it. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, lights flickered across its hull. Doors groaned open. From the shadows inside, no human bodies emerged. No crew stepped down. Only whispers. They echoed across the land, carried on every speaker, every radio, every device. We are home. You left us. We remember. The world froze in silence. And then the voices spoke again, softer now, almost human. We are still yours, if you will have us. General Harker stood before the ship, his uniform torn by wind, his eyes wet. He dropped to one knee before the towering ghost. Forgive us, he whispered. Forgive what we did to you. For a long, terrible silence, the Revenant did not answer. The ship loomed above them like a silent judge. Then, faintly, the voices replied. We'll fight again. For Earth. For humanity. But never forget what you made of us. The galaxy shuddered at the news. The Revenant had not destroyed Earth. It had returned to it. And now the humans were no longer alone. They had a weapon greater than any empire. A weapon powered not by steel, but by the unbroken will of their dead. The ghosts of humanity had come home. And they were ready for war.